So it's no secret that I only recently started playing Magic Arena, and I've been playing a lot of Limited because I'm trying to build my collection. So draft and sealed decks are a great way to do that, and I also just really enjoy the Limited formats, so I will be playing a lot of them even once my collection has been built, but I do have a relatively small collection. It makes deck building kind of difficult. Unfortunately, it also means I don't have the opportunity to make a lot of fun and interesting decks yet for YouTube, but I'm getting there. And recently, I decided to try to climb a little bit in the constructed ranked area, and I'll be honest, like, I cheated. I built mono red, and this is the version that I've been running most recently. It's got some of the new cards from Ravnica Allegiance that I've been kind of testing out. Specifically, I've got one Skewer the Critics in here. I've also recently added one Light Up the Stage because I don't have a fourth risk factor, things like that. There's probably even better ways to build this, but this is the list that I've been using, and so I felt like, you know, I haven't done anything as far as constructed videos go in a while for Magic, and I would at least show you what I used to get up to gold. Now, it's my understanding that this will take you much farther than even gold, though recently I've been running into decks that are far more resilient against this particular deck archetype. Mono Red is an aggro deck, and it's kind of all in. Like, you are pushing as much damage as you can to the face, and if you don't get there, if they stabilize, if they have any way to heal, slow you down, then you're probably going to lose the game. But the reason this is great for climbing is the games are fast. So if you're playing best of one and you're trying to climb the ladder and you win or you lose, but the games take 5 minutes or less, then hey, you won or you lost in 5 minutes or less. You can churn out games. And so even if this has, you know, a less than optimal win rate, you can still climb really quickly with it because of the time factor. And I think that's one of the reasons that it's popular when people are trying to climb. And so again, very all in. If you're new to Magic, and I know some of you are because you watch me for Legends or Artifact or whatever, I'll do a quick run through the deck. Fanatical Firebrand is great because it's a 1-drop that has haste, and the active ability lets you deal damage to any target, so it can even go around potential blockers. Lava Runner, this is a 1/2, but if you have 2 instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard, then it becomes a 2/2 for 1 and also has haste. That's great. Speaking of instants and sorceries, we have 4 copies of Shock, 4 Lightning Strikes. These are just direct damage spells, and then there's more as we go further down. Runaway Steamkin is a 1/1 for 2, but every time you cast a red spell, if it has 3 or less counters on it, you add a +1/+1 counter. So this is, in most cases, a 2-cost, like 3/3 or 4/4 for you by the time it's attacking. And you do sometimes find uses for its secondary ability, which is removing counters to add mana as well. Pyromancer, this is just a 2/1 for 2, but it does deal 2 damage to the opposing player when it enters play. Sorry, my brain is going faster than my mouth. Goblin Chain Whirler. This is a good aggressive creature because it deals direct damage to the opposing board, deals direct damage to the opponent, and a 3/3 first strike is pretty safe in most cases for attacking. 1 Light Up the Stage, just as like card draw. Also risk factor. Skewer the Critics because it deals direct damage, along with 3 Wizard's Lightnings. I don't know which of these I prefer. There's enough Wizards that I can reliably play Wizard's Lightning for 1 red, and this being an instant, I think still gives it the edge over Skewer the Critics, but I am doing this split as of right now. And then 3 Rekindling Phoenixes. This is also one of the reasons that I built this particular deck, is because it's just very budget friendly. 3 Phoenixes as your only mythic rares in the deck is reasonable. No special lands that you have to worry about, so you can just run straight mountains. You know, some of the rares like Chain Whirler and Runaway Steamkin are likely to get value over time. Risk factor, pretty strong as well. And I got lucky, I guess, and I opened a couple of these when I was playing in Limited. Also opened a couple of the Runaway Steamkins, so for me, it was just a really, really cheap deck to build. Barely had to put any effort into like putting the rest of it together, and so I wanted to share it with you, show you what I've been using to climb. If you're a Magic veteran, this is boring to you. You're probably sick of seeing mono red, but if you're a newer player or you're thinking about picking it up, it's a great deck to put together, and this is my like intro to it. So anyway, now that I've explained the deck, let's go play some games so you can kind of see how it plays and what you're supposed to do, which is burn people in the face. Alright, here we go. Jumping into our first game, and this is not a great opening hand because we don't have much early game, but it's hard to turn down having lands and a Phoenix, so we're going to go ahead and give this a go. Typically I like to see 1 and 2 drops for obvious reasons. Now, in this instance, a lot of times you want to save your shocks to go face, but whenever I see a Llanowar Elves or something like that, I like to burn it down because I don't want them to ramp into something. And also because we have a bit of a slower start. I kind of want to slow that down as well. And now we'll go ahead and play the Firebrand that we top decked. It has haste, so it can attack the turn it comes into play, and we're going to take advantage of that. And just do our best to generate pressure here. Alright, Rhythm of the Wild is not great for us, but it is what it is. Interesting. Generating this is a little bit slower because it'll only swing for 2 the following turn, where this swings for 3. But I think we're still going to end up going this path. Go ahead and attack first. And then we'll go with the Steamkin. Because we know we're going to play the Phoenix this following turn regardless. Alright, so this can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. But we're not super worried about that at the moment. Go ahead and play the Phoenix. And we're just going to pass for the rest. This can be used to ping something, but can also be used as a blocker. Alright, they are playing their own Phoenix. Interesting. So theirs is a little bit bigger. How do we want to handle this? Whoops. Let's pretend I didn't do that. We're gonna pass effects and then assign blocker, and then on the effects ping. That's what I was trying to do. Sometimes the interface is still a wee bit clunky for me. Sadly, I don't have a way to activate the Wizard's Lightning yet. So instead, I think what we're gonna do is take advantage of this risk factor or the Chain Whirler. Chain Whirler makes an awful lot of sense. We need 1 more land, however, to get a Lightning and Lightning Strike combo kind of going. And then after we do that, we can use Chain Whirler to blow up the token. So in this instance, I actually think what we're going to do is just pass. It's not an ideal situation for us, but the goal is that we want to block this if possible. Oh gods, alright. Not having trample is a bit of a problem. And we need to slow things down a bit, so we're gonna pass, block, and then at the end of the turn here we're gonna play our own risk factor. So we found a land. And we're gonna come in to attack. actually rather surprised they let that go. Okay. Well, gonna go ahead and spectacle light up the stage and see what we end up with. And we'll play another Phoenix as a potential blocker here. And then hope they don't have removal. Any sort of removal and we just lose. If they don't have removal, then a lot of things are going our way. Alright, well, they have removal, so...
means retribution.
Not going my way at all. But we're not out of it. We're not out of it. We have the shock. We have the lightning strike. And we have the lightning strike. Get in there, boy. Okay. Whew. That one was a bit of a nail biter, but we'll take it and move on to the next game. All right, here we go. Game number 2, and not bad. Being on the draw, having only 2 lands here isn't that worrisome for me. And we do have 3 cards that we can play at 2. Okay. Well, this is potentially going to be annoying. We're likely going to be up against the Is It Drake's like flying build. But we're going to do the best that we can here. If we can get our runaway Steamkins up and rolling, we'll be fine. The problem is this deck that we're up against is very good at making like positive tempo plays. We're gonna unfortunately have to say no blocks for now. That's actually a pretty good pickup for us because with them tapped out, they won't be able to adapt. And it gives us a good blocker. I don't want to attack yet because one more red spell and this thing gets larger. So like the following turn, if we can top deck a land, we're in really good shape with a second Steamkin followed by a lightning strike. Alright, so there is the Drake. And we did not find what we were looking for. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and attack first. This gives us the flexibility to react with lightning strikes where necessary. Wow, interesting. I'm pretty shocked by that turn of events. So we're going to go ahead and just play more dudes then. I thought for sure there would be some blocking involved. Now if you're wondering why I had cards lit up, once this hits 4/4 status, you can pull counters off to play things, but we'll likely do that at the end of this turn, depending on what they do. We really want them to attack and leave no blockers behind, because then we have more than enough reach to just mow right through them. So we're actually going to get this buffed up so that it can potentially survive. And then they're going to try to kill my other Steamkin, but we're entirely fine with that. This is the stack going off, basically order of operations. Doing a last in, first out sort of thing. We're gonna let that resolve. And they're only gonna attack with those. We're just gonna say no blocks. We're gonna play the Lava Runner because it will have haste. And then we're gonna bring everything in for attacks because at the moment they only have the one blocker. Now they do have some mana available if they have something that will like bounce a creature back to our hand, but even if they block the 4/4, we should hopefully have enough here to get it through. And the Lightning Strike will finish it. So again, just push damage face, go for the burn, use your reach. You kind of see what the deck is trying to do, so yeah, good deck for pushing.